This is a series, the first of a series of 3 or 4 tapes that I made when Burt was staying with us. I believe it was 1975. And while sitting around the kitchen table, I decided to record some of his conversations. And he tells a lot of interesting stories about what happened to him on his trips. I think you'll find them very valuable. The voices that you hear besides mine is my wife, Jackie, at the time, and my son Marty, who was about 17 at the time. And this first tape, Burt tells how he came to come over here in 1956 to watch the Germans run. And I met him in 56 up at Bonneville, and when he got here, and he bummed a ride with me to come back to Los Angeles. And I was in a pickup truck, and I had my wife and another friend with me, and so Burt was going to have to ride in the back end. And he said, "That's no problem." And he says, "I'd just be happy to have the ride." And I remember it was about 740 or 750 miles. Burt rode in the back all the way. We drove straight through except for stopping for gas and to eat. And he was just sitting in the back there, just looking around at the scenery and singing and just really enjoying himself.
You can't tell what these American rigs are with, can you? Remember what they call the screwdriver at Wendover? They were about 80 cents 12 years ago. Howard Devaney and them took me to a do one night in the cafe. Where they have the floor show, the old casino. They insisted I try a drink, and it was a screwdriver. I found out after they're 80 cents. And I wanted to return the shop, and they wouldn't let me. That Mexican traveling crew were there in all their fancy hats and clothes, and they sang a song about me. Now, I'd often wish I got a copy. And all I remember is, we think he's just a marvel, he's all the way from Invercargill. I can't remember anymore. But it was a whole song they sang on the stage. And Howard Devaney and Jones, the manager, and half a dozen of us were there around this table, and that's what they sang. A day or two later, I had the bike where you could pull in. There's that building up on top. That's a motel, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then there's a big suite round there, and you could park in there. And they must have seen the bike, and they all come out and have a look at my bike this day. All in their fancy costume. You would be there that year, 1962. Remember you and Joe were way out in the desert, broke down when I went by and went them a run?
Yeah.
And you said it sounded like a Triumph coming.
Yeah.
I can remember things you can't remember.
That's right.
You can't remember sitting in my room at the motel.
Nope.
You did.
Wasn't me.
Yes, it was. It was you and Albie Stewart, and you had these camper beds with you. And I could come and camp in my room. I had a great big room as big as this, and I said, I'll just lie in the bed.
Tom Roberts.
Yeah. And she had a room. She had a room at the State Line Hotel, and you used to disappear some night. We were only in my room a couple of nights. And you should give up your room, and we got a spare camp bed, and we can all camp out together, and I did.
But it wasn't me. But
Yes, it was.
Or was it? You know who it was? It was a guy named Tom Robertson.
No, it was you. It was Marty Dickerson and Albie Stewart. You asked about Albie.
I'll ask you, Albie. It was Tom Robertson and Albie Stewart.
The hell, Tom. To the Tom Robertson, the sidecar race in Invercargill. I know it was him. He was a great big fella. Yeah, that was 1960. Wait, no, it was 1956. 1956, the year the Germans come over. But was that your first visit to 54? You were up there with the bike, weren't you?
I was there in 1951.
With the big Vincent.
With my bike.
Oh, that's right. And then you rode Joe's later to 180 with the blower.
Yeah, that was in 55.
55, yeah, the year before I came out.
Yes.
And then in 56, the Germans come over, and I heard about when I was in Germany and Europe. And I said, by God, if I can't get a trip to America this year, I'll jack it up somehow. And how I got it, I knew a fellow in Thomas Cook's office in Christchurch, 365 mile, and I was up at the Grand Prix and that sort of thing. And I got asking him, and he had access to reservations, and he got me at that time, it was almost impossible to get a berth on a ship coming to the West Coast. See, there's no aeroplane flights then either.
Oh.
And he got me this berth somehow, he pulled the string, and that's how I got over that year. I was desperate to get over. I tried to get, it took me 5 years to get a ship to go to England. In 1955, 20 years ago. I was away 6 months to the day and saw everything. Even the Tower of London and the Crown Jewels. And the Queen too. I saw the Queen again, but I'd seen her in 54 in New Zealand on her big trip. She left Bluff Harbour, 17 miles from Invercargill, and we had the 3-day royal show and she was there. And 40,000 people got away down to, oh, I remember this one, got away down to Bluff to see her off. What did I do with my eye? Oh, yeah, I remember this picture. I got this home. Yeah, this reminds me of David Frost with his arm around my neck. Oh, yeah. He said, we got some marvelous tapes of you. Must have been tapes he got. I think the New Zealand Broadcasting Company bought this film. And then he says, look up there. And I looked up here. I am tearing along in the salt at about 150 miles an hour on the streamliner. And you'd see the pushers, the perfect picture. I'd never seen them before. And they're running like mad. And I yells out, faster. And away she went. Yeah, I got more hair there than I got now. You had too. That's about 18 years ago, isn't it?
That was at Bonneville.
Oh,
Bill Bagnall took that. Bill Bagnall took that picture.
Did he?
Yeah.
What's that building? I can't place that building.
There's a house trailer. This is at the Western.
Oh, yeah.
That's a house trailer right there.
Yes, there are some old buildings. Yeah. Well, that's a trailer there, isn't it? No?
Yeah?
Hello? Yeah, we're all a lot younger looking there. No wrinkles in the forehead. The same old smile, Jackie. I remember the day we drove down and you said you'd like me to meet Rolly Free. And when we got down to your mother's place, London, and we arrived there about 2 o'clock in the morning or something. So I spent the first night in your shop and the next night at the Hawthorne Hotel. Remember your shop in Hawthorne Boulevard? And they made a bit of a bunk for me. The next night I got into the Hawthorne Hotel and lost $100. Did I tell you about the $100?
No.
I booked in there late at night. I might have went to Santana Drag Strip. I don't know where, but I never got the hotel till about 10 o'clock at night. And the woman had just gone to bed, but the sitting room was still alive with people. So they told me where the office was, and I knocked on the door and told her I required a single room. So she put on a dressing gown. I think she'd just gone to bed. And showed me the room, and it was $2.50 for the night, a day for the room. And I said, I don't know what I'll be doing, but I may stay for a week. I said, I'll let you know tomorrow. So I'd been roaming around the lake for 2 weeks, and I was wondering how financially we're lasting, and I had Thomas Cook's traveller's check. So I pulled out the traveller's checks, and I'd cashed some $100 bills just, but I've gone through a lot more money than I thought. And I thought it looked as if I've lost a $100 bill. So I thought, now how did I lost? I must have been somewhere in the bus that day after you shot. But I know wherever, I have an idea I could have went to Sandana drag strip, and it took me all day to get there. And I'd done the last 4 mile on the back of a Harley Davidson. It was about 4 o'clock when I got there. And I waved the dollar bill to a guy in a big Harley, pulled up, and I gave him the dollar. He's doing 90 miles an hour just in no time. Hey, I shouted out in his ear, take it easy. He slowed down a bit, and I found out if you wave a dollar, they'll stop. Anyhow, I wonder if I give it to the bus driver. I thought, no, I'll check with this woman first. So I got up and put some clothes on. Nice room, heating lamp by the bed, easy chairs, a double bed for emergencies and everything like that. And I went up to her office and knocked on the door, and there was a bit of a pause. She opened the door this way. Yes, she nearly bounced through the gap. I hated being disturbed. And I said, I'm sorry to disturb you, lady, but I said, I've given somebody $100 by mistake. He didn't give it to me. No, I said, I didn't say that. There's several places I could have given it away, and I just want to eliminate you for a start. I said, you'll just look in your purse. She left the door still 6.5 inches wide, and I followed her progress, and she went right over to the other corner of the room, and there's a tall boy cupboard. What do you call the wardrobe thing? She opened the door and picked her purse up and come stalking back to me, pulling her purse out. Suddenly I saw her face change. She apologized. There was my $100 bill. And the reason for that, all the currency is the same color and length and size. And in the semi-gloom of the hallway, at the door of the room, I said I'd take the room. Well, I just picked what I thought was $2.50 out. It was $101.50. You know what she said then? She said, Mr. Munro, she said, when you the room tonight, you said you may stay a week. She said, if you decide to stay a week, you can have the room for $10 a week. Every year, I stayed at home for $10 a week until I didn't stay there no more. So that $100 really paid off in the finish.
Yeah.
Well, I got after that, I made sure that was a 1 in the corner, not 100. You go to Canada, what happened? Every bill is a different size and color. You go to Australia, every bill is a different size and color. You go to New Zealand, every bill's a different size, all different colors, but the same size. $10 bill, a $20 bill, a single bill. We only have singles and 10s and 20s and 50s and 100s.
Don't have fives?
No, I never heard of one. There's not enough money in the country.
No, a $5 bill.
I don't think we have them. Great day you forget when you get old.
Yeah, how can you forget that? But you can remember things.
I can't be sure now, Marty. I know we have 10s and 20s because they're what you use most of the time. But I can't recall $5 bill. And we don't have quarters like you have. We have 20 cents, 50 cents in silver, no more. We have pennies, 5 cents, 20 cents, and $0.50 in silver. That's all the silver coins we got. No nickels.
No dimes. There's much money in New Zealand.
Well, it's dollars and cents, but
Don't you use money much over there?
huh?
Don't you use money much?
Oh yeah, I use it all the time, but I can't remember where it's 5 cents. I can remember every coin America made. I've even had a $2 bill here. You don't see many of those about. I had one once, and I went and spent it, and I should have kept it because they're sort of rare. I got it home. I got about 5 silver dollars. One was 1889, and I saw a coin shop in Auckland. Yeah, a few days in Auckland before the plane left, visiting the kids. I was down in Auckland one day, and I saw a coin spot. So I went into the guy, and I said, "What do you pay for U.S. Silver dollars?" He said, $4.50. I said, yes, I got some I'll have to send up to you later. I bought some of them here, and Frank Hales gave me one for £0.5 he wanted that I had. We made a swap. He got the £0.5 that I had, and he gave me a silver dollar. And I have an idea that was the one 1889, but then they're not worth any more than a later model, because there were so many made that year, they're in circle. Yeah, and some silver dollars were only a few struck that year with $100. Mine was the wrong kind. Yeah, I bought some. I think I paid $2 for them, and they're real nice milled edges and all. And I think I've got about 4 of those plus the 1889. And I think they're all, according to this guy, they're all worth about $4.50 in New Zealand. But every year there'll be a few of those lost ones or somewhere or other in fires, and eventually they'll be worth $20. They were going to start making those again, and then they stopped. They didn't make them again, did they?
They don't make them out of silver.
Was that the trouble?
They're silver plated or something. They got copper in the middle of them, like
Yeah.
the 50-cent pieces have.
And I got one of those. Harry Gaffner gave me one of those Kennedy $0.5. I think I got 2 or 3 of those. The Kennedy is supposed to be worth a bit. Are they going to make any silver dollars
I think so.
for the centennial? Bicentennial?
But they'll be like this.
Yeah, I was looking at that. Are they made like that?
Yeah.
Only the halves are up.
That milling machine cuts straight into the metal after it's silver.
Yeah, it's copper. That's copper in the middle.
Yeah. And just silver plated on the outside. A lot of air coins go like that. They're what they call copper nickel. I was reading in this morning's paper. There was an editorial, and Mr. Wilson, the president of England, premier, prime minister, he jokingly said, he said, if you want us to take you back, we're not inclined anymore. Too much of a lie. They have too many troubles of their own without shouldering our trouble.
Yeah.
That's what he meant by it. They're just about bankrupt like New York is.
Yeah.
They're loaded down with public servants that do nothing. Yeah, I managed to read it, yeah. It only just. I was in Philadelphia, so many buildings, but I don't remember seeing that. Oh, that's a good Philly Bend story. 200 years of freedom. Oh, indeed. Not much freedom when New York goes bankrupt. There's some Latin here. What the hell it means?
E pluribus unum.
What does that mean?
I don't know. United we stand or something like that.
It's just there. They'll probably make dollars too, won't they?
Mm-hmm.
What did you have to pay for this? Face value? '70s, 20 years. I remember the bit of poetry. Hardly a man is now alive who remembers that famous day and year, 1775. Yeah, I've forgotten it all. Did you know that bit of poetry? And Paul Revere's right, it's Paul. I was in the arcade yesterday looking for the post office, and I come across a fella in the arcade between Broadway and what's the next street to Broadway? Spring Street, or Hill Street, one of those. And here's a guy painting of a photograph. Painting a big picture. By good, he'd wanted this fellow there. And you could go in, anyone could do the picture. If he's a Japanese, he had a whole bunch of paintbrushes. He'd paint your picture just like you wouldn't believe it. I watched him for quite a while. Fascinated. And he had the teeth gleaming white and everything on this woman he was painting. Fantastic bit of work. Yeah, I saved up for 3 years, and I was going to bring the fellow over last year, and I kept loaning it to bits.
Can't save any money if you got to keep repairing it.
One of the worst. The 87th blow up was 2 years in May, June, July, over 2 years and 3 months ago, and since then I've had 17 blow up. Count that last one. I had a feeling I was going to break a gudgeon pin. I had a brand new 2024 alloy rod in it, a brand new cylinder, and a piston, very latest model I'd made, and slightly bigger valve, and a 2024 ring seat, third one in it. And the one you gave me, the original was chopped to bits in a blow-up, and then the one you gave me, and I fitted it in, it was chopped to bits. Then I built the alloy one, and it was chopped to bits in this blow-up, and I'm on my fourth ring seat, 2024. But anyhow, I had a feeling about a gudgeon pin. I've always used 34 Ford pins, you know. And I looked at it and I thought, the damn thing will break in half. So I bought 2 at Del Monte years ago, very thick in the wall, 316 wall thickness, 3/4. And I thought, nothing can be stronger than that. And I'm coming down the car club speed trial. 4 of us were invited to run, and the second president and some of our officials and that car club were using our electronic equipment for the timing. And it was subject to record attempt. And the FIM, ACU rep there, the district, just like they got to have her bunch here to recognize world record. Anyhow, with that fellow going good, and there's slight undulations in the road, and the bike had come, but as quick as that, battered my face and I couldn't dodge it. Blood everywhere. And I'm just getting to the timing light, and there was a scream of metal. You never heard anything well, I hadn't. And I had that clutch out lightning fast as usual. I've been so used to it over the last 50 years, blowing my bike up. I'm lightning fast on the clutch. Anyhow, I got stopped. And Bill Tinker he's the president of the club, he took a hold of the bike. And I'm mopping the blood up for about 5 minutes. I said to Bill, I said, have a look at take the plug out and have a look at it. I said, well, when you get it out, see if you can see the piston in there. He got the plug out. Oh, he says, the plug's all battered. He says, something's hit it. He couldn't see a piston or anything in the hole. He's a good eyesight. He's only about 30. So I took it home, and she had punched that, and the pin had broke right in the middle, and half of it had come out, and it dug into the conrod 38 times in a fraction of a second, and some of that alloy is pretty strong, and sometimes it dug in that deep into the alloy in the little end, and all down the sides where it had hit, you know, as it flew around. And that rod never broke. It's the only thing that didn't. And there were holes in the head that you would stick the butt of that pin, and dozens of them, about that deep. And I'd have welded the deepest ones up and turn it all out smooth again. Another ring seat, and I've had 16 blow-ups with that one, 17 counting that. So I made another rod, and that rod's hanging up and offerings of God at speed. I got 4 shells, Rolly, Marty, from that wall to this wall, 10 foot long, 8 for one, loaded with broken parts. And there's that many on it. Sometimes they fall onto the floor, and I just pick them up and find room for them.
Better build some more shelves.
I've broken every mortal part you can mention. I'll bet you I've wrecked it. When she broke that case in half, both cases and the timing cover, he must have caught harder over on the drive side than the other side. See, the timing case helped to keep that side down until it cracked in half. And it split the main bearing shell. You know the main bearing fits into the casing, and even cracked that. And loosened the timing side main shaft. I had to make an oversized one. But I was 10 weeks fixing everything up, making a new cylinder and another rod. And, yeah, the piston survived. And to get the engine out, when it happened at the beach, was it the beach? No, on the track. And Joe Green, a buddy of mine, he's had a couple of rides on the Velo in the last several years. I says, Joe, while I turn the engine, you get the screwdriver, the long one with the square shank, those long ones with the square. I said, you push hard while I turn the engine with the engine turner. I have a Tommy bar with the thing fits in the starter thing I made up. And we got the piston to the bottom. So I took it home then, and when I got her apart, all the screws out and got her out of the engine, and got the timing case off, I lifted the top off the bottom half sat on the ground.
What made it blow up?
The goddamn engine broke in half.
What caused it to break in half?
It wasn't strong enough.
Too much horsepower.
Yeah, so I made it stronger. See, the drive side went first. And I found out what the weakness was. You know the long bolts you make? I tapped down the full length of 3/8 PSX tap. And right on the top of it, I had a square thing I'd made up so I could go right down. I made the bolt long enough to go right down there. And Vela said, you might remember, you've had some, but where the engine number is on there, it steps in to clear the timing case. And these bolts terminated there, and they weakened the metal on the corner. And where the cylinder comes right down, as I made bigger cylinders, that got further and further in. It was very thin. And what with that and the bolt hole, it weakened it, broke. So what I done, I shortened the bolts up that much, filled that hole with metal, so they terminated in the thick part of the drive side casing. And then I welded up, you know, a cylinder comes down, say this is the mouth of the crankcase, the cylinder goes down to here, doesn't it? In the middle of that, it was very thin. So I cut the piece out of the cylinder and welded that up inside to fill that square. And then on top of that, I got about 3/16 by 3/4 alloy and bent it right round the main bearing and welded it all together with argon iron. And I reckon that thing's twice as strong now as when it blew up.
You mean you're doing heliarc welding now?
Huh?
You're using heliarc welding now?
Oh, I used to weld alloy. I was the first in Invercargill to weld aluminum alloy, or aluminum, in 1935. And nobody else could weld it then. And I went up to Dunedin, and the boss sent me up for a week to see if I could learn to do welding. And I learned to do steel welding, and aluminum and bronze and cast iron. And if there's any tricky job to be done in the shop, I used to weld cast iron seats in worn out heads for customers. See, I was a salesman for 10 years, and they couldn't get a foreman, and they wanted me to take the job on temporarily. And I said, I don't know enough. And old Alf Tapper says, you know enough for us. And all I'd learned was just working on the special. But anyhow, I took over the workshop for 3 years. We had 8 mechanics and I was boss. And as time went on, they couldn't get a suitable salesman. I said to the boss one day, none of them seemed to be able to sell motorbikes. I said, look, Alf, I said, there's a chap out at Merino down, it's about 70 mile out. I said, look, I reckon I could go out there and sell him a Triumph and be back here in 3 hours. So he let me go out, and I never went back into the workshop. I took over the selling again. Was there till it stopped lying. Couldn't work no more due to the hemorrhage of the brain I got on my gas producer. I run on coal for 24,000 miles selling motorbikes. Well, you know, the night of Pearl Harbor, I was way up at Middlemarch to see a client 200 miles from home. Back country roads way up there. I got back to Balclutha where you get back onto the blacktop. And my gas tank was getting pretty low. I was only allowed 60 gallons a month at this time from 100. Then they cut it to 80 and then to 60. And I used to get 65 to the gallon at 70 miles an hour on a Triumph or a 500 Velo. Either Tiger 100 or a Velo 6. Those are I get 6 new ones a year. And by this time, I was on a speed twin, I think, yeah, that's right. I later bought it. And I get to Balclutha at 5 minutes to 6. That's right on the banks of the Molyneux River, the biggest river in New Zealand. They're going to build 7 hydroelectric stations on it. It drops 1,000 feet in about 100 miles. They're going to build and develop 3 million kilowatts. That's half as much again as Boulder Dam. Anyhow, I said to Bill Bogue, there was a queue of cars up, which was most unusual. When I got to Bill Bogue on the gas pump, of course, you get to know everybody for 200 miles around when you're traveling. And I said to Bill Bogue, I said, what's going on, Bill? He said, no more petrol after 6 o'clock, and I was 5 to 6. I said, why? He said, they bombed Pearl Harbor and there should be no more petrol. Instead of staying at the Hotel Clutha that night, I filled up a gas tank on my license, 5-gallon can, stuck it on the tank under a sack, and I set off for Invercargill 90 mile away in the darkness. And by midnight, I had a carburetor half made from a gas producer. 2 weeks later, I had it finished and had my first run on it. And I'd done 24,000 miles on that gas producer. And I could go from here to, let's see, what's that town? From here to Las Vegas, and 50 miles on top of that for 60 cents on coal. Can you beat that? Cruising speed flat out on gas, 56 miles an hour.
With the coal gas.
The first one in the world I built it, but I built 1 or 2 on my car, and I knew what I was doing by this time. I had 6 cars, and every time I built a gas producer for one, it's the only design around like mine, and the lightest. And I'd no sooner get one built running nice than somebody'd want to buy it. I was okay, you can have it for 50 quid plus the price of the car. And I'd set to and built another one in a couple of weeks. 50 quid was a lot of money in the early days of the war, wasn't it? That was a hell of a lot of money. Equal to $1,000 today, damn near, what you could buy with it. So that's how, when the gas shortage occurred, the postmaster came out to my house. I had never seen him in my life. No, he said, I've heard a lot about the gas producers you used to build in the war. He said, I'd like you to start building them commercially. Oh, I said, I'm not interested in anything like that. I still have the last one I built in the shed, but it's not for sale. And I said, it'll only fit a Ford V8 or a Ford Mercury. So that's all it. At my time of life, you don't feel like making any more money, do you?
That was your rich like you, Bert.
I used to have a bit of money, but after this, my 14th trip to the United States.
Well, it eats it up.
That trip when I went right round America cost plenty, 11,500 miles. 4 repair bills to my car, which weren't very much because I done it myself. I stayed at hotels, New York, Chicago, and all over the place. Cost me a lot of money.
So how heavy a unit was this gas producer on your bike? The one you put on the bike, how much did the thing weigh?
Yeah, how much did I make with it?
No, how much did it weigh?
Oh, 130 pounds on the car, and the one on the bike loaded with coal, I can't recall, but the one on the car, most of the car ones weighed 600 and 800 pounds. Mine weighed 130 pounds ready to run. And I had no air cooler on it, or gas cooler like most of them. One of those big commercially built ones had a gas cooler right in front of the car, pipes this thick, and the gas went up and down, and that created wind resistance. And not only that, they carried a huge amount of water to cool their chew iron, maybe 100 pounds of water, 10 gallons, and that and great. Some of them weighed 600 to 800 pounds ready for the road. Mine weighed 130 pounds ready for the road, and I took the belt through the hill one night at 40 miles an hour, and some of them couldn't even get up there except in low gear, dead low gear, what with their weight and inefficient cleaning. And I whooped up there going to Port Chalmers one night, that's 150 miles from Invercargill, and in the night air they go better. And I whipped up that grade in top gear and topped it at 40 miles an hour. That was on a 39 standard sedan Ford, a black one with.
So how do you get gas out of coal?
How
do you get gas out of coal?
How does it work?
Yeah.
Give us a bit of paper and I'll show you. This is my own design, the only one. I'm going to give it to the museum. Now, this is the back of a Ford. That's the front of a Ford car. 39, that's the back of it. Now, I took the bumper bar off for a start, and I built a special bumper bar that bolted onto there's two things out from the chassis and bolt through it. I took that right off and got a piece of spring steel off an old Dodge or something, and I bent it like this. I bolted it on there, and come round the usual shape, and then right where the burner went, there was a loop like that to fit round it. See the loop?
Yeah.
And the burner in the middle, the burner would be that thick and that high, the chew iron on the big takeoff pipe. The big takeoff pipe, I should really have a photo of that thing.
There's more paper up there.
Right?
More paper.
Here's that. I'll use my pen, it's straight where in your hand. Well, we'll say this is a Ford car. That's the headlight. And this is the bumper bar at the back. Well, I take the regular bumper bar off and I make one out of the old Dodge model. And it bolted on these two floggets like that. Spring steel. I come round here and right round my burner like that. And I had the main gas pipe, I had a flange I welded on it. A flange on the burner and a flange on here with 6 bolts through this big pipe, about that big. It went right under the bumper bar out of sight. That's all you could see of it. It went right under the running board, right up past the clutch pedal and the brake pedal. I got room in there somehow. And then I went up to the cyclone here. The cyclone was made of a 1912 Ford gas tank. They're oval in sections. You ever seen one? About that long, cut in half. And for the cyclone, I welded a top on it. And inside the...
I had to shut that off because of that noise that came in and getting worse and worse. Evidently, the original tape was faulty. But this about the end of this tape anyway, and it's too bad because that noise came in because Burt was explaining that the gas producer, and I wished I'd have kept the drawing that he had. I don't know where it went, but we'll turn this over and go to another tape.